Hallo und willkommen. Ich bin Meister Lenz and you're watching Get Germanized. How good is Google Translate really when it comes to translating the German language? Or I guess any language for that matter.
All on board. What should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
I know that many of you out there, members of the Germ fam and just random strollers, that is, well, people that stroll around the internet, strollers, use Google Translate for, well, translating. Many of you out there, especially those who just started learning a new language and in, well, the case of the Germ fam, the Get Germanized community, German will use Google Translate because it's just one of the easiest ways, not sponsored, to translate one language into another, or even, well, use voice recognition, which we will do today. This test is really important in my opinion because, well, I mean, Google, we all know this is not perfect when it comes to translating, but how good is it really? Let's find out and let's get started. Lasst uns anfangen. Let's start off with something simple. Something that most people would ask when they, well, meet someone in Germany. How are you today? Would be, wie geht es Ihnen heute? Or wie geht es dir heute? So Google automatically use the polite version, which is good in my opinion because, well, then you don't offend anyone, because some people really don't like being addressed in the impolite form or the informal form in German. So that's good, especially when it's your elder or your boss or whatever. Wie geht es Ihnen heute? How are you doing today? The first try with something simple went well. Let's try out more. How can I get from here to the Brandenburg Gate? Wie komme ich von hier zum Brandenburger Tor? Also correct. Not bad actually, second try. 2 successes. I'd like 1 latte and a croissant, please. Ich hätte gerne einen Latte und ein Croissant. Perfect, works out fine.
Ich hätte gerne einen Latte und ein Croissant.
And as you can see, you can even use the voice feature if you can't pronounce it yourself yet or don't want to, because I definitely understood this. It's not perfect, I mean, it sounds like a Google voice, but yeah, this works so far at least. Okay, let's try something more difficult. I strongly believe that squirrels are among the best kinds of animals. And the translation is actually really good. Ich glaube fest daran, dass Eichhörnchen zu den besten Tierarten gehören. Yeah, perfect. It's pretty good. I hurt myself and really need to go to the hospital right now since I am bleeding out. Ich habe mich selbst verletzt und muss jetzt wirklich ins Krankenhaus, da ich ausblute. Well, that doesn't work. I've hurt myself und muss jetzt wirklich ins Krankenhaus, da ich ausblute. Well, I mean, I hurt myself in German. What they used here for the translation sounds like you did it kind of on purpose, because in German you would just leave out the selbst in the sentence. Ich habe mich verletzt means I've hurt myself, but not like I have intentionally hurt myself. That's what this sentence sounds like. Oh, I've hurt myself and I'm bleeding out and now I really need to go to the hospital. I mean, yeah, in some cases that might be a true statement, but not really for most people, I wouldn't say. So that's a first mistake by Google. And pretty severe, I might add. No, darling, I'm not in the mood today. Can we postpone it? Is in German. Nein, Liebling, ich bin nicht in der Stimmung heute. Können wir es verschieben? It's perfect. It's actually really good. It's pretty damn funny. So you could say this to your partner if you're really not in the mood today. So this is pretty funny. Google. So you can use it so far. Let's see what that sounds like with the Google voice.
Nein, Liebling, ich bin nicht in der Stimmung. Heute können wir es verschieben.
Oh, please, someone use this with this voice on their partner. That'd be fantastic, and please record it. Would be an awkward recording as well, like, act naturally, I'm doing nothing out of the ordinary. Well, anyway. What is your favorite TV show? Mine is Dark. I just love it. Was ist deine Lieblingssendung? Meine ist Dunkel. Ich liebe sie einfach. So this is a pretty good example to show that, well, since Dark is just a name, the name of the show, we would call it Dark in German as well. We wouldn't say Dunkel. So you can't translate everything, or you shouldn't at least. But Google doesn't know this. Google doesn't differentiate between what you want to have translated and what is just the name of something. So, well, you can use this, obviously. This is correct, this sentence. But I would just substitute whatever it translates, you know, with the actual name of the thing or whatever. So yeah, works. I'd like a stein of beer and Wiener Schnitzel, please. Well, this worked pretty well. Ich hätte gerne einen Krug Bier und ein Wiener Schnitzel. Skip the please. You could still add a please at the end. It doesn't hurt, right? Bitte at the end. In case you want to be extra polite.
Ich hätte gerne einen Krug Bier und ein Wiener Schnitzel.
Bitte. Works though. Nice. The velocity of a train hitting me with 1000 kilometers per hour is incredible. Not bad. Die Geschwindigkeit eines Zuges, der mich mit 1000 km/h pro Stunde trifft, ist unglaublich.
Die Geschwindigkeit eines Zuges, der mich mit 1000 Kilometern pro Stunde trifft, ist unglaublich.
Damn. So even a little bit more complex stuff it can translate. I mean, the only complex thing here was velocity. Darling, could you please get the washing out of the washing machine? Because otherwise it gets all stinky again. And it translated this to: Liebling, könntest du bitte die Wäsche aus der Wäschemaschine holen, sonst wird alles wieder stinkend. Well, in this case, stinkend we wouldn't really say. I mean, I doubt that you maybe would even say this in English, but it just came to mind. Because some people really have a problem with leaving stuff in the washing machine for too long and they think, well, I have to wash it all again. No, you don't. Anyway, in this case, stinkend, we would just say stinkig. Sonst wird alles wieder stinkig. It's a little bit more, well, it just sounds more correct. Stinkend. Well, I mean, to be honest, we would understand what you mean. We would just smile, smirk, whatever, and say like, okay, stinkend, eh? Okay. So another little mistake, but nothing severe so far. I like it. I mean, unless you count the one thing in the beginning. People say that German engineers are among the best in the world. Man sagt, deutsche Ingenieure gehören zu den Besten der Welt. Well, correct statement and also correct translation. Very well done, Google. Yesterday I fell on my butt and that hurt severely. Gestern bin ich auf meinen Hintern gefallen und das hat heftig wehgetan.
Gestern bin ich auf meinen Hintern gefallen und das hat heftig wehgetan.
It's correct. I mean, I didn't, but the correct sentence. Heftig wehgetan. That's awesome. You could also say richtig wehgetan or ziemlich wehgetan, pretty severely, hurt pretty severely. But heftig is pretty funny actually. I would use this just because. Could you please describe the way to the Museum of Art in Berlin, please? Könnten Sie bitte den Weg zum Kunstmuseum in Berlin beschreiben? It's pretty good, I would say. You could use this. Yeah, for sure. Works. Nice. Excuse me, where's the next Taco Bell? Or the next Burger King or the next McDonald's? Entschuldigung, wo ist die nächste Taco Bell oder der nächste Burger King des nächsten McDonald's? Well, to be honest, and again, I doubt anyone would ever use a sentence like this to begin with, but it works. It even left the names of these brands. That's interesting. Maybe because they're so well known and just, you know, kind of in our language as well, that Google recognized this and doesn't translate it. So that's a good sign. It does learn, apparently. Nice. And Dark is like the TV show Dark that we talked about before is probably just not popular enough to have made it yet into Google's translation library. Here's a little challenge for you out there actually, and the winners of this challenge will be announced in the next video. You will be shouted out. Translate this English sentence into German as best as you can. And the ones that get it the most right or the closest will be randomly picked, like out of the pool of the people who did it the best. You will be picked and well, shouted out in the next video, and I'll tell you what the correct translation for this would be, or well, if you got it right, completely. Let's see. And the sentence I want you to translate in the comments is: how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? So I know how Google Translate translated it. I won't tell you if it's completely correct or if there's mistakes. You just type into the comments what you think is the most correct. Or, well, if you know, just type it in. Hope you had fun with this video. I think Google does a pretty decent job actually at translating most sentences with small mistakes. It's probably also because there's just a constant learning going on in the engine, right? People use it every single day, probably every second, and it just learns and learns and learns. Eventually, I'm pretty sure Google will be among the first to develop AI, like true AI. With stuff like this and so many other things. They just gather and gather and gather. It's pretty impressive and a bit scary as well, but pretty cool. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, click the notification bell to never miss another video, because if you don't, Google will not tell you about every single video I make. If you want that, click the notification bell and then you get a notification for every video, which is one a week, so no spam there. And check out my social media, it's in the video description, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the good stuff, Snapchat. And you can become a channel member by clicking on the join button next to the subscription button once you're subscribed. That way you get extra benefits like regular, private updates about what's going on the channel, what's going on in my life. You get the videos in early access, that means before everyone else, and lots of other good stuff. So if you want to support the channel that way and get those benefits, click on the join button right now. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.